Good morning, everybody. It's midweek, it's Wednesday, and I'm calling this Creative Wednesday. The focus on Monday was about the energy of nature, and of course, the reasons for walking or looking at nature is to build creativity. So this is a kind of follow-on from that. In the words of Sir James Dyson, I think, creativity is about daring to learn from your mistakes. So you've not to worry about making mistakes, you just learn from them. Now, creativity is actually all around you. Now, you know that nature, it just builds your creativity. But there's also creativity and beauty in architecture. And I love old buildings, but there's beauty in the city as well, all around us. And it reminds me of when I was working for the Open University at Durham University and the residential school, and one of my colleagues, David Mingy, he loves concrete buildings, and he took us on a tour of Durham. Now, I wouldn't have thought about this before, but we stopped at one building and he said, just take a moment to look at the side of it. And the side of it had long windows with concrete between them, and you to look for a wee while, but actually it was like a piano. There was like 3 black keys, 2 white, 2 black. I would never have noticed that before. So that was really interesting. It's just looking at things from a different perspective and different eyes. Other creativity, of course, is shown in everyday objects, like in your phones, your clothes you wear, the music you listen to, the food you eat, everything. There's creativity everywhere. Now, I know that I can hear some of you say, yeah, but I'm just not creative. I couldn't design clothes or design the new car or phones or whatever. But actually, it doesn't matter. What you need to realise is that although some people might have a kind of natural creative ability, you actually have creativity in you. And all you need is a little help to use that or to bring out your creativity. So how can you do that? Well, have fun. And I'll be continuing the fun theme on Friday with Frivolous Friday. But one way of bringing out your creativity is to have fun. Creative people are the people who love their work. They love what they do. They know they can't, I know that we can't all have the luxury of working or doing what we'd love to do, because we need to put food on the table. But if you can have fun and enjoy what you're doing, hi Lee, I'll just give a wee wave there, thanks for watching. You can still have fun, and you can create something like making paper aeroplanes. I mean, I remember at Christmas, I was involved with a large company with one of their teams who we were doing Zoom calls, and Elaine, who heads up, organised this. She said, why don't we make paper reindeer? Well, it was out of toilet rolls. We could only use toilet rolls and a piece of string or something. Well, it was amazing what we came up with. It was absolutely fabulous, and we had fun. In fact, it got actually quite competitive, which was interesting as well. And actually, they gave me a prize, but I'm sure that was just because I'd been kind of facilitating this team. But thank you very much. I'll keep my reindeers until next year. The other thing is, you've got to think of children. Children are not frightened of being creative. Think of asking a whole group of 5-year-olds in a class, draw me something, paint, write me something, and they're all desperate. They're painting, they're writing, they're drawing, and they absolutely love it. They can't wait to show you what they've done. Ask the same group of 5-year-olds when they're 15. Now, would you all like to draw me something painting? No hands go up. They're like, we don't do that now. And I think it's sometimes I think that creativity is knocked out of us when we're in school, maybe by teachers, even our parents. They're saying, no, who wants to be a painter, an actor? You'll never make any money. Just go for the traditional jobs. And of course, even in some of my lecturing, when I did the entrepreneurial lecture for MBA classes, I remember asking these mature people who were engineers, they were architects. Well, maybe not so much the architects, they could bring out their creativity, but some of them had gone down the career route that their parents wanted them to do. And when you actually dug deeper, quite a few of them said, well, actually, I wanted to be a musician. I was very good in the guitar, and another one wanted to be, an actor, other things. So yes, it's all right to maybe ground yourself with a degree that you could maybe fall back on, but try not to lose sight of your creativity. So, you don't need to just stick to traditional jobs, but you need to weigh up, obviously you need money to live, and if you've been there in a situation of not having any, you have to do other things. I've had to do that in life. I've done many jobs over the years, but I've kind of never lost my creativity. So you can maybe, if you're in a 9 to 5 you don't like, can still find your creativity, your outlets later on in the evenings or whatever, weekends. And of course, always remember you've got nature. Walk out in nature, you get a different perspective. Practice and experiment. I think that's interesting. People think that those with kind of original thought and creativity, they just arrive at it like that. Well, I was thinking about Pablo Picasso. Now, I don't particularly like him, but that's just my thoughts. But he actually, his paintings, he was very daring actually to do the paintings he did. But this wasn't by accident. Hi, Barbara, good to see you there. A wee wave. Some may think that they look that way, but it depends on whether you like his art or not. But what he did was he spent many years experimenting with established ways of painting, and then gradually, with revisions and revisions and revisions, experimenting, he found his unique style. So you don't need to, you could look at something that's someone else's work, original, and then think, well, I could tweak that, do other things with it, and find your own style. And of course, particularly in art, it really is in the eye of the beholder. Some of us like one thing, some of us like another. But, try and take on board that you can experiment. It doesn't just happen overnight. You might have an aha moment, but, you need to perhaps that might fail, like James Dyson found. You can do the first thing, aha moment, doesn't work out, don't give up, of course, try again. Keep a journal, do something creative now, do it for your own pleasure. Now, I am absolutely addicted to journals. I've a friend, she's also addicted, and when we're out together with her husband, he bans us from going into stationery shops. I have so many journals and notebooks. Some I've started writing in, some I've, they're blank yet. Others I'm halfway through them. I just love different kind of journals. But when you have your journal, what you can do is you can look at people and start writing about them, making up maybe a character of them in your mind. And it's only for you. Nobody needs to see this. In fact, in creative writing classes, which I did many years ago, they said when you're writing, try and write about something that you know about or someone you know about. And of course, you can keep it to yourself. Be very careful if you're maybe doing an art drawing or writing something about someone you know. It might not be particularly attractive. You don't want to hurt them. This is for you. It's just to bring out your creativity. And of course, creativity is not just in the art or the writing fields. It's in the science world, scientific fields. Think of Albert Einstein. Now, he was a physicist who used his creative gift and his imagination to work out his theory of relativity. Now, I'm not going into that. I don't think I could do it justice. But he was creative. There are creative companies. Think of Apple. There was a chief designer there, I think, Jonathan Ive, I think. He believed that the simple but distinct look of their products was because of the creativity of the whole team. So start using your imagination now. And here are sort of some tips to kickstart your creativity. As I've said earlier there, keep a notebook to hand. I've got many. I can just go to one and pick one. I sometimes forget which one I've written in, but keep a notebook and you can just start writing. You know, it's quite my thoughts on getting notebooks. I'm just addictive. Need to keep away from these stationery shops. But what I do is sometimes you don't know what you're going to write or whether you can write. You have that kind of block. Just doodle. Now, just start doodling. And many of us, I mean, I don't know, I know it's the old-fashioned phones we used to be on, but I'd have a pad beside the phone. I'd just start doodling. I did a lot of kind of musical symbols. Don't know, that's because I like music perhaps. Just start doodling. And, research shows that actually when you doodle, believe it or not, it calms your brain and increases your creativity. The next one is take photos. Now, you don't need an expensive camera. Now, I remember when I was travelling, going across to Australia for the first time, I thought I'd love to take lovely photos. I'd lost my son and he was a photographer, and I thought, right, I need to maybe use one of his cameras, buy a decent camera. And I spoke to my friend Bernd Poor. He is a film producer and a photographer. And I said to him, look, I'm thinking of going, what should I buy? And he looked in his pocket and he pulled out his mobile phone. He said, just use your mobile phone. And they do take amazing photos now. And we know that actually from the many that are posted up on Facebook. I love seeing the photos that people are taking. Absolutely stunning. Now, I know music's the next tip. I know I've said often music helps spark your creativity. And research shows there's all the kind of Mozart experiment, and if you're studying, use classical music. You know, it can get you into the thoughts of what you're supposed to be studying, etc. But there's also research that shows taking yourself off to a quiet place, just having somewhere quiet and secluded, just taking yourself away from anyone else. I think Roald Dahl did that. He took himself to his shed at the bottom of the garden. You've got no distractions, don't have any distractions at all. And in fact, obviously, if you were outside in a secluded place, you might have the distractions of nature, but that's kind of beauty and creativity itself. But try maybe turning off the music, having no distractions and just sitting, it calms you. I mean, being in a quiet place, they say, really gets your creative juices flowing. So try to be alone and without the distractions. It also increases your concentration as well as your creativity. Now, there's some writers, in fact, I can't remember who I was reading, that there's some writers actually who maybe write from the computer. Now, I find if I'm doing creative writing, I quite like writing. I get the flow of my hand and the pen. I love it. That's what the notebook's good about. But when I was writing my books, I started actually writing them in a pen and paper, and then I thought, I'm never going to get this done, so I was using my computer. And there's some writers actually, if you're a touch typist, you've got to be a touch typist, they close their eyes or even blindfold themselves, put their earplugs in, and they're off. They're just typing, and it's closing down every distraction and they focus better. Now, I did find it was interesting because when I wrote my Changing Seasons of Life book, which are the short stories, my short stories, very abstract. These have been written probably 20 years ago, and they were written by hand. And when I was actually transferring them to the computer, it was interesting. I actually thought, who wrote this? It was because it was my hand. I knew I'd written it, but it's interesting. You can reflect back and see, was this really me? So, sometimes it's difficult, but when you get stuck, start doodling. Just one of the things, if you're writing, another creative writing class I was holding, people were saying, I just can't write. I said, well, just start saying even that these words, I can't write, I don't know what to do. I wonder if I can, any kind of waffling. And suddenly it's as if your pen or pencil takes off, and you'll find there's a story in there somewhere. Another thing is, to get another perspective, is to collaborate, work with someone. I find this is fabulous with my IT chap. Yes, Walter, he isn't a figment of my imagination. He really is there, and he's a fantastically creative guy. And sometimes, I mean, we've worked now together for 20 years or something. So he knows my mind circles backwards, forwards, everywhere. So when I'm writing something, and I say, right, I'm maybe going to add something to the website about well-being, and he'll show me what he's done, and there's this lovely paragraph of just the words that I would like to say. So, it's really amazing. But he gets stuck as well, and we're working on something called Circle Safe, which is a stress evaluation, which you'll all be able to do. It's going to be launched soon. And we were chatting about it yesterday, and he said that, sometimes you're just not in the mood. There's a kind of block. And suddenly, between the two of us, as we're chatting, we suddenly get an answer. So it really helps. You get your creative juices flowing. And of course, we're having a laugh. I mean, I miss the one-to-one actual meetings, but we've been doing it, by Zoom or by phone. And it just gives you're getting feedback also from them. Now try and make it constructive feedback, because nothing negative gets anywhere, or destructive. Constructive feedback. So when you collaborate, you're getting other people's ideas, another perspective, and you're getting constructive feedback from them. Another way of getting a new perspective is to just do something in a different way. Do something in a different way. Something simple, like, and I've said this before, but if you go for a walk, take a different route. If you go to a park, go to a different park. I know we're in lockdown, there's still restrictions in many places, but do what you can to do something different. Make a different meal. Don't have, reverse what you're doing. We do things automatically every day, and it tends to get quite we're into a kind of robotic mood. So just turn things around. I mean, I remember there's a story coming to mind. I remember years ago, probably it was because school did this, but you'd have mince on a Monday, sausages on a Tuesday, pie on a Wednesday, and it was every week was the same. So it got to the stage that you could say, I know what I'm having 3 weeks on Wednesday. So that was really robotic. So if you've got, maybe that organises your family well, but if you have, maybe surprise everybody. Instead of the pie, have the fish or whatever. Just, just change things around, and it really gets everybody excited. Might you say, oh, I was expecting sausages today, and suddenly I've got chicken, so change things around. It really gets a different perspective on things. And of course, meditation, my ABC. Meditation increases your creativity. It helps your brain to produce more creative ideas. Now, scientific research shows that when you're meditating, a change occurs in the frontal lobes of the brain. And because you're involved in the process of the meditating, these frontal lobes change. It was the University of New Mexico actually found that you're more likely to come up with an original idea when there's less activity in the frontal lobes. And that's what meditation does. It triggers this change in the brain. Running does this as well, but then I'm not really a runner. I'm not out to do my 26k marathon, but walking nature's fine for me. But meditating kind of has a similar result. So when you meditate, it slows down, it triggers this change in the frontal lobes of the brain, and your creativity just flows. Now, don't beat yourself up. That's the next one. Don't beat yourself up if you're not being creative or creative enough, because we do have blocks. We do have blocks. But stop stressing about not being creative or creative enough. So you need to stop stressing about this. Again, it was St Andrews University found that if you enjoy your work and you're happy in the job you do, then you really are more creative. So if you're just starting out, as I've said earlier, if you're starting out, or you maybe need to find a new career or a job, which many people will have to do over this pandemic, many people have lost their jobs. Now, those who are able to take risks, and they're resilient, and they have the courage, they will find something and maybe go into something that they never thought they'd do and really enjoy it. Obviously it's very, very difficult because we do need money to live. But if you can choose something that you would love to do rather than have to do, you'll be happier and you'll be more creative. Because when you enjoy what you do, you're motivated. This motivation keeps you going and helps you to be creative. The next one is understanding failure. Now, I think so many people think, oh, I failed, and they can't move on. Failure comes in all forms. We've all failed. We've all made mistakes. I've probably made more mistakes than many people. But I learned very early on that, yes, it gets you down. Yes, you can really get down, that you're maybe even sometimes don't see a way out. But if you can learn to or look at it and think, what can I learn from that? It's important that you understand that failure is only the next step. Don't quit. Artists and industry experts, when they fail in any project or anything they do, they reflect and they learn from that, and they gain insight into how they can do something differently, how they can move forward. The motto is really try again and never quit. And I know this personally because I think my family and many people have said, you've got mind circles, where has it gone? Now, mind circles was a kind of tiny thought in my mind probably 20 years ago, maybe even more than that. And I thought it would take off because to me, everybody needs to improve their mental health. But it doesn't go that way, partly because lots of people would maybe rather go for if I say, well, we could sit and do a meditation, they'd probably rather than go for a facial, get their hair done. Now, these things are all lovely, but they're not going to have this ongoing, permanent kind of positive mental change. So it was disappointing for me, but I've stuck with it. So it's resilience. I've got to, I believe in it. So it's going to get out there. And, these things you have to just take in your stride. And if you've got the resilience, the tenacity just to hold on to something and be brave enough to hang in there, then you get there. So, and of course I love doing it. I love what I do. Creativity, really, I can't stress enough, it builds resilience. And what you need is resilience in life. It's needed more than ever. Life is forever changing. It throws us more curveballs than we can cope with. And if you've got resilience, you do cope with them. You cope with them in a different way. You see a new perspective on life and never let that go. Nobody can ever dampen my creative spirit. That doesn't mean I don't have down days. Of course I do. And I've got people reminding me, are there some techniques perhaps? Maybe that ABC should remind me that I've got these techniques that I should be using. So, for today, I would say, if we look at the ABC, A would be, I am creative. Just tell yourself, I am creative. I am resilient. I have the courage to do something new. Any of these positive affirmations that just lift your spirits and you feel better. Write them down. Put them in your notelets or your notebook. Look at them often. And breathe. Of course, breathe. Effective deep breathing it helps improve your overall well-being. It's increasing your lung capacity. It's calming your brain. It's calming you. It's relaxing you. It's improving your immune system. It's got so many benefits and it's free. So, if you're doing the proper breathing, you will really feel much calmer and more energized to do something. So the C for today, my Mind Bites meditation I thought I'd do is I think it'll just take you to the beach, maybe the beach. You can, I'm just trying to think. No, I think the beach, I feel as if I want to go to the beach today. And I'm in the city, so I can just, in my mind, I can take myself off to the beach. And of course, This meditation I developed actually helps you cope with challenges. You turn challenges into opportunities, and you've got more confidence in doing that. So it kind of fits well. And of course, you're using your creative processes. That's why I liked, when I was designing what could I call my ABC, the creative imagination exercises are visualizations, but ABV didn't sound very good. And I thought, I don't even want to use the word visualize, because visualize often means to see. And I've got a Mind Bites meditation on my website, which shows, you can look at it, get it from my website, but people imagine in different ways. Some people use different senses. Some people hear sounds. Some people taste the salt of the sea. Some people do see the brightness of the sun. Some people can touch, they can feel the sand. So we use different senses. And it's not, to me, when I said visualize, it was kind of forcing people to see. And a few people actually said to me, I can't do these visualizations, because they were thinking that they had to see. That's why I changed it around to using your imagination in a creative way. And I had that aha moment. I thought, that's it, A, B, C. So it fits nicely with me, and it's something easy to remember. What's difficult is to practice it regularly so it becomes your good habit. So enough of me chatting today. We'll get you into your creative, get the creative juices flowing with a wee meditation. So if you'd like to put your feet on the ground and back against the chair and sit back straight, but just comfortable. You don't want to be stiff, but just comfortable. And then we want to relax. So close your eyes. I would like you to take a deep breath in through the nose, hold, and then exhale slowly through the mouth. Now take another deep breath in through the nose, hold, and then exhale slowly through the mouth. I'm not sure if I've said this before, but what's quite helpful is if you smile, just close your eyes and smile. Makes you feel good. Now imagine you're walking on golden sand. The sand is stretching far into the distance. Imagine your bare feet and they're touching the sand. You can feel the sand on your toes. You can smell the sea air. You feel the warmth of the sun on your face. You feel good. The sand is stretching far into the distance. You can see to the horizon. You feel free, this vast space. You feel a sense of freedom. There is only sand, sea, and open space. Freedom all around. Nature's beauty all around. You can sense the freedom. You move forward with a sense of purpose. When you breathe in the pure air, maybe the salty air of the sea. Let the air fill your mind and body. So breathe in slowly through the nose. Hold and exhale slowly through the mouth. Say to yourself, I feel free. I am positive. I am confident. I know I can face challenges with confidence and purpose. And then you can open your eyes and just yawn, shake your shoulders, just bring yourself back into the now. Now, these are short meditations, but they really help you it raises your positivity and you can get your creative juices flowing. Now, I'm going to be back on Friday. I'm calling it Frivolous Friday, so they let the fun continue. I think we deserve having some fun. But as always, my 2 trademark tips are smile and laugh. They cost you nothing. And thank you for listening and watching, and virtual hugs to you all. Have a fabulous day, and I'll see you Friday. Thank you.